Hello and welcome. You join me, ADG, and here we are for round 10, the final round of the Simfx 1 Hour Endurance Championship. And this week the race is being held at Autodrome Lago Maggiore GP track, which is a 3.6 mile fictional Italian track. Without much further ado, we'll go through the qualifying order. Pants put it in first place after half an hour's hard effort of qualifying. Diablo in second in the M6, BMW M6, both 1 and 2. Phoenix in third. Fourth is Bazinger. Mulson is fifth. Simfx Ginger Tim is in sixth. Specky Jock in seventh. ADG 123 in eighth. B. Cooney in 9th and Steve Stones taking up the rear in 10th. So, without much further ado, we'll get going. We'll skip up to Ginger Tim and off we go. It's been a while waiting for this one. I do apologise. Been on holiday for a week basically, and I just didn't get round to doing it before I went away. So I did the notes, but here we are anyway. So I finally got round to it. And hopefully you'll enjoy it just as much as any of the others, even though it's 2 weeks ago this race. But yeah, we'll see how we go. The bonus of being 2 weeks ago is I've kind of forgotten everything that happened, so it's going to be a bit of a surprise, this race, almost, in a way. So stick with Ginger Tim as we watch everyone set up and come over the start-finish line for the first time and start the race. Mulson right at the back of Bazinger straight away. We've got Tim battling away at the side of Mulson as well. For some reason this time round we seem to be able to go on board with anyone, not just myself, so we've got that added bonus this replay. So we see Ginger Tim just having nowhere to go, so he dives right to the inside of the apex, ends up collecting Mulson as he does that, and they both give each other damage basically. Mulson, the innocent party in that. Tim almost an innocent party in that as well, just got caught out on the brakes a little bit and dived to the inside of Mulson to try and stick it down the inside, but unfortunately Mulson didn't realise he was there, I don't think, and pulled into the side of him. If there'd have been a little bit more awareness, I dare say they could have avoided that incident, but it's one of those things, it all happens in the heat of the moment at the time. Anyway, we're with Steve Stones now, chasing Specky Jock. Specky Jock's right on the back of me. Again, we can stick with everyone's in-car view, so we'll do that for a change. Specky Jock going for the overtake now on me. Down me inside into the long, sweeping, fast right-hander. If we look back, still running side by side, I am on the exit. In 5th place, take it back off Specky. So not a bad first lap start from us in the midfield. Cooney getting onto the back of this battle as well, so 5th place is anyone's in this first lap. See Steve Stones and Specky having a little bit of contact. I'm sure it was unintentional, but unfortunately Specky Jock ends up finding himself off track. Steve Stones ends up losing a bit of speed and Cooney just takes both positions and finds himself in 6th place all of a sudden. So good move there from Cooney, just being patient, watching the mistakes happen in front of him and pick out the line to be able to make the best opportunity of it, and puts himself up into 6th place, so good job. We'll skip back to Steve Stones. Steve Stones right behind Cooney now, looking for that position back. Can't get my words out as per usual. Cooney running an outside line there, giving Steve Stones a bit of room, but Steve Stones not diving down the inside and trying for it. Ginger Tim in the pits after picking up damage on lap 1. Mulson choosing to stay out even though he's got front right suspension damage, as we can see on the bottom left there. So we'll skip up to Bazinger now. Bazinger right on the back of Phoenix, giving him a hell of a race in these beginning stages of the race. We've got Pants in 1st place, Diablo in 2nd. Did I go through the qualifying order? Leave it in the comments if I didn't. I don't think I did actually. Did I? Yeah, I did. I did. It's been a while. So we see Bazinger's now dropped off the back of Phoenix a little bit. Phoenix doing a good job to pull a bit of a lead away. and see what the leaders are up to. We've got Diablo right behind Pants. Pants started in first place, so he's doing a good job of holding first place. Diablo in second, so they're already off and having their own race. If we look back, there's quite a gap to Phoenix in third place. So Pants and Diablo in the BMW just able to pull away straight away, even though we're only looking at the beginning of lap 3 now. So we've got Passenger to watch as he chases down Phoenix now. But yeah, Pants and Diablo are already off. And Phoenix is trying his best to see if he can stick with them. Or catch them back up, should I say, and then stick with them. And Passenger's just looking to have a nice clean run behind Phoenix. It looks like there's a few things going on behind. Nope, not a lot actually. Passengers who had a good season, all in all. Ended up being very close between me and him in the end. I won't read out the final results, although anyone that actually races in these races will have already seen it about 2 weeks ago when the final results were actually put on the board, and we all found out where we finished in the championship. But for the purpose of people that might not have actually seen the championship table, we'll keep it further towards the end. I'm sure there's not many of them, if there is any. Obviously I do have the benefit of seeing how many people watch these videos and the analytics and all that kind of thing. But I know it's not loads and loads of people, but it's certainly more than the amount of people that are actually racing. So I know a few people end up watching that are not involved in the racing. Hence why I occasionally say stuff like that. I know these videos are never going to get a massive audience, but I don't really care. It's good practice with a small little audience to get better at what I'm trying to do, which is improve my commentating skills. And one big thing that I notice all the time is exactly what I just did then 3 times in about 5 seconds, which is go So I need to cut that out. Anyway, back to the racing, waffling on about myself. Specky Jock, we need to jump to now. Specky's in the wall, so does Mulson manage to get past? Mulson comes up to Specky just as he unghosts, gets back on track and unghosts in front of Mulson, but Mulson deals with it nicely, just goes past him quite calmly. And Mulson finds himself up in 7th place, still carrying that front right suspension damage, but it's not costing him too much time, it turns out. Otherwise he'd have pitted by now, surely. So let's skip to Passenger and Phoenix. Looks like there's still a bit of a race going on between these two. Oh, wrong way. So Passenger looking for the opportunity on Phoenix now to get that 3rd place. He's looking for the inside line already, is Passenger. Not giving Phoenix a chance to pull back into the inside and defend. So Passenger gets the line into the corner, down the inside. Phoenix forced to run wide a little bit. And Passenger does a good job of taking 3rd place there. Phoenix isn't giving up though. He's still got the line back on Passenger. But ultimately he has to drop in behind and accept 4th place instead. So good overtake there from Passenger, good racing. Specky Joe getting back up to speed now, right on the back of Mulson. We saw Specky have that little bit of an incident, so Specky's picked up the same damage as Mulson's got, so he's also suffering with front right suspension damage. So yeah, let's skip through and see what's going on generally. We've got Ginger Tim right at the back after pitting on lap 1, so he's in a bit of a different race on his own at the moment until the pit stops come into play from everyone else. Steve Stone's in 9th. Specky and Mulson more or less running side by side. Specky in 7th place now, managed to take the place off Mulson, so doing a good job. B. Cooney chasing me down in 6th place. I'm in 5th. Phoenix having a good race in these opening laps with Passenger. right on his tail still in 4th place, Passenger in 3rd, and then we've got Diablo dropped off Ickle Pants now, but still in 2nd place, doing a good job. He's a good racer, his Diablo, seems really consistent this season. So we'll go back to Passenger and Phoenix. Incredible close action between these two, and it has been for a few laps now. So it's good close, clean racing going on. See Phoenix diving a little bit deep to try and take an outside line, but maybe even get the cut back, but it didn't work for him. Passenger retaining 3rd. Good effort from Phoenix though. You can't just sit behind and accept 4th place. If you're fast enough to stay with the guy in front, then you're fast enough to overtake him basically. So he has to try all sorts of different things as Phoenix now. Open up the racecraft book and see what he's got in his locker. Passenger running a little bit wide. I don't know why I keep watching these two, they're fascinating me at the moment. Cooney's still chasing me down. She's got a little bit of a gap between us, but doing a good job is Cooney in this race, chasing me down for 5th place. Steve Stone's not having a bad one. Specky in 8th. Mulson probably feeling a bit hard done by. If you look at Mulson's damage now, he's picked up front aero damage and front left suspension as well, so he's definitely pitting now on lap 9. So we'll watch Mulson stop, see where he comes out. Comes out on the beginning of lap 6 even, not lap 9, lap 6 on in 9th place. Ginger Tim in the pits again, so 2nd stop now for Ginger Tim. Already pitted on lap 1, at the end of lap 1 should I say. So yeah, Mulson, Ginger Tim are in 10th and 9th. Specky Jockey's in 8th, 7th is Steve Stones. We've got B Cooney again, I'll repeat myself, chasing me down in 6th place for 5th place. Phoenix still on the back of Passenger, keeping him very honest and having a very, very good little battle to try and get that 3rd place off him. And as I've already said as well, the same situation's going on ahead, but Ickle Pants has pulled the lead away from Diablo, but they're in the same position to start the racing, so it's all nice calm stuff. We see Passenger actually run it into the wall there. Obviously Phoenix makes the opportunity work as soon as he sees Passenger have a moment, gets himself into 3rd place. Passenger now carrying a bit of damage, got engine damage, so he's got the rest of lap 7, which is more or less just started to run with engine damage. So we see me in 5th place now coming up to Passenger. So I can tell he's going slow. Dive to the inside to get past him before this corner. Cooney tries to follow through, but Cooney actually ends up going a little bit deep into the corner to try and make it work, so Passenger actually runs side by side with him on the exit. But Cooney's got the overall power with Passenger carrying that engine damage and manages to get himself up into 5th place. A few people making the most of Passenger's mistake there. So we've got Phoenix up into 3rd, me, ADG 1, 2, 3 into 4th, and B Cooney taking 5th place. Passenger absolutely effing and jeffing his way around the 7th lap, I imagine. Passenger will have to pit after that one with him. We've got Steve Stones in 7th place, about to overtake him. Bit unnecessary there from Passenger. I don't know if he knew he was there or not, I don't know if he was aware, but seemed to swerve and make Steve Stones panic a little bit towards the braking zone there. Passenger just having to suffer this lap, and there's nothing he can do about it. It's the worst feeling in the world, especially when you were quite high up. So Passenger did that from 3rd place, for example, so he was on a podium, was on for a podium at the time when he actually had the incident, so a bit unfortunate for him. Again, we've got Cooney chasing me. Seems to have a similar gap every time we look. He's not really getting much closer, but I'm not really getting much further away. Got Phoenix now free to just try and catch up Diablo and try and put some fast laps in. As we see tyre wear creeping into the equation now though. So So Basinger dives into the pits as he finally gets there on this lap with his damage, comes out in 8th place after that. We've still got Mulson in 9th, Ginger Tim after 2 stops already, so no surprise in 10th place. Only 10 of us this week. Few people dropped out mid-championship, mid-season. A few people couldn't make the last race, Skid Guru for example. So yeah, unfortunately it only ended up being 10 of us in the end, but compared to some other leagues, that's pretty good. So we have a good dedicated driver base in this Pro-Am league, and it's always good to see familiar faces every week. You can start getting to know driving styles and whether you can trust certain people or not, or whether you give them that little bit more room, or etc, etc. So it's good to race against similar people, and especially if quite a few of them are beating you every single week. It's no easy task to actually win a race, so it's good. So Equal Pants pitting from 1st place and ends up coming out in 2nd, right behind Phoenix. So we'll watch this little battle. I'm kind of completely ignoring my notes now. I'm just getting into the race and watching my own version this time round. So Equal Pants getting past Phoenix. It was going to happen quite quickly if we look at Phoenix's tyre wear. Equal Pants has just come out of the pits. If you looked in the background then, Diablo had a bit of a moment on the curb there. Bit of oversteer and nearly lost the back end. So Phoenix is about to get overtaken by a Diablo as well. There's nothing he can do about it with his tyre wear. It's just naturally going to happen. B. Cooney still not far behind me. If you look at my tyre wear, I'm due a pit stop sometime soon. And if you look at Cooney, he's not far off the same thing as well. Just watching Cooney now as he closes in on me. If you look on the mini-map at the top, then 1st, 2nd and 3rd are actually that close, that far in front of us really, compared to the gap to 6th place behind Cooney, if you have a look. So although we're in the distance of the podium runners, we're not that far out of the race yet, as we see Phoenix pitting on lap 9, and I pit as well at the same time. So Phoenix comes out in 5th place after that from 3rd, and I come out in 6th from 4th position. So watch Steve Stones and Cooney's are incredibly close now. See Steve Stones all over the back of Cooney, hustling him. Cooney yet to pit, so Cooney's got the warm tyres, but as we look at Steve Stones, they're not much better, so Steve Stones just having a good run of it. Steve Stones just diving down the inside on Cooney there and gets it done nicely. We'll skip up the camera angle, see where Cooney is. Cooney's right behind him still. But Steve Stones doing a nice job of taking 3rd place there. So Cooney looking to pit sometime soon, so he won't be too bothered about losing that place, but obviously it's never great being overtaken. So we see Cooney diving into the pits now on lap 10. We'll skip his pit stop, as you know we always do. Comes out in 6th place, so good racing from Cooney. It's not a bad place to come out of the pits after a stop. So we're on to lap 11 now. Just skip through and see what's going on basically. We'll skip up the camera angle a bit and go to this angle. So we've got quite a gap between Diablo and Icopants, but Diablo can still see him, so it's not that big a gap, but it's still a bit of work to do from Diablo to catch up to Icopants there. But Steve Stone's in third. Looking back now, Cooney's pitted, there's no one behind him. Phoenix in fourth. Again, good position to be in after a pit stop. So Phoenix having a good race this time round. Likes this track, I know for a fact, does Phoenix, Maggiore. Cooney goes well at this track as well. It's a favourite of his as well. Basinger in 7th now. Absolutely kicking himself probably because of that mistake that caused him the damage quite early on. He was having a really good race for Phoenix as well. So a bit of a shame, but these things happen, that's racing. Specky finding himself in 8th place now. Pretty much racing around on his own. Ginger Tim in 9th. We've just seen someone else pit, but I missed who it was. We'll go up and have a look in a minute. And then we've got Mulson in 10th. So we'll skip back up. Steve Stones is right behind me now as he comes out of the pits with brand new super softs on. I've picked up a 1 second penalty from a little corner cut somewhere by the look of it. So let's see what Steve can do here. See if he can catch me up. Taking completely different lines into that corner. But Steve gets a decent run out, even though he took the shallower line. Runs a little bit wide there with understeer, but he still manages to keep that gap similar. I remember, even though it's 2 weeks ago, I remember thinking for this race, you've had so many bad races this season where you could have had better results just from keeping it clean. So I just thought to myself, I don't really care about my position, I am just going to have a consistent, clean race. And if people overtake me, they overtake me. If I manage to overtake, I manage to overtake. And that's how I treated this last race, and it actually ended up going quite well for me. So I didn't have the fastest car set up. I qualified in 8th position, but I had the setup just to be able to keep it nice, clean and tidy, lap after lap after lap. So that was my aim for this last race. I knew I couldn't really climb the table too much. Even if I won the race, it wouldn't have made that much difference. So yeah, it was just about actually getting a good result and having a good race, really. And I felt like I did that just by concentrating on my consistency. So we see Steve Stone's right on the back of me now. Questions whether to go down the inside or not, but thinks better of it and pulls in behind me. Gets a bit squiffy on the brakes though. Looks to the inside line round the apex as I run it a little bit wide. Steve Stone's just running it really tight there. Trying to chuck it over to the left hand side to open up this right hander. Awkward corner to get chucked into that one sometimes if you run it a bit too fast through the exit of the corner before. So we're on lap 13. Steve dives down the inside on the tricky braking into that tight right hander. Very cambered corner, but it doesn't seem to really help you. You still get loads of understeer and go off quite easily. But we see Steve Stone's taking 4th place off me there and just manages to pull the gap straight away as well. So good job there from Steve Stones, good overtake. We'll skip up to Cooney and Tim, I've written down, so let's see what's going on with those guys. Worth a mention, definitely worth a mention. It's not. I shouldn't phrase it like that. It's more than that. Thank you very much for your effort, Tim. Just coming from me personally, and I'm sure I speak for many, even if they might not mention it that often. Thank you very much for putting in the effort to host the website and everything else that you do for Simfx, and make this league in particular a brilliant league to race in. So cheers for that, Tim, and I think credit's where credit is due, where credit is due, or whatever the saying is, you know what I mean. So yeah, anyway, we'll skip up to Mulsanne. Mulsanne in 9th place, seems to be picking up his race pace now, but it's a bit of a shame that he's so far back to start with. Just that incident on lap 1 with Tim that caused all that, so a bit of a shame that Mulsanne's last race was ruined by damage a little bit, and I extend that to Tim as well, but it was just one of those racing incidents. I looked at that as Tim actually did quite a good move and dived to the extreme apex, as I call it, so he's almost got all 4 wheels over the apex rather than just 2 wheels, and it was just one of them unfortunate things really, just caused that little bit of contact by doing so on Mulsanne, and just put him out wide and caused the damage crucially. And crucially as well, worth mentioning, that Gran Turismo is so inconsistent with the damage, so seems like on other races people would have got away with that without any damage whatsoever, but this time round that contact on lap 1 between Tim and Mulsanne, it just caused enough damage to pretty much ruin the race. It's really quite an annoyance for a lot of us when we actually pick up damage, and certainly when it feels like if you plant it into a wall and you get bloody damage, then yeah, fine, but when you've had a light touch on someone's rear end or tap the door or whatever it might be, you just feel sometimes it's unwarranted damage for the severity of the accident. Anyway, I'm back up into 4th, God knows how it's happened. Steve Stones is in 5th. I'm missing everything, I'm waffling on, and quite frankly I'm a bit high, I'm not gonna lie. So we'll skip through the order. Equal Pants doing a really good job. If we look at his fastest lap time, it's a 1:54.281, so if we compare that to everyone else as we skip through the rest of them, it's not the fastest lap though. So Diablo with the fastest lap of a 1:54.154 in 2nd place now. Phoenix, oh god, no, I'm on the wrong lap, I need to catch Steve Stones. No, I'll go through it. Phoenix, we're 1:56 roughly, race pace there, and so on and so on. I won't read them all out, but just interesting to see what the top guys are doing, top 3. And then you've got me on the 1:57s really, 1:56 is my fastest. So that's why the guys in 1st, 2nd and 3rd are up front. They're just doing faster laps basically. In 4th place, Steve Stearns in 5th now. Steve Stearns' tyres looking quite good, the Super Softs. Pete Cooney doing a good job, still in 6th place. For some reason I've written Steve Stearns down for this lap, but I don't know why. Professionalism is my name, as you can see. I forgot what the hell, I can't even speak now. I'll shut up. Doing a good job, Steve Stones. This is why I've marked him down for this lap. He's doing a good job of catching me up quite quickly there. So the second half of that lap, lap 15, Steve Stone's doing a really good job there, and reeling me in really quite quickly. So he's looking to get down the inside again. We've already had this, and then the pit stops happened and Steve Stone's dropped off. Steve Stone's nearly out of fuel actually, with a quick glance towards the bottom. So he'll be looking to pit this lap, I'm guessing. He's right on my bumper now. Let's see what he does. Dives to the inside, forces me to go defensive if I want to keep the position, and then he backs out and then takes the line that he wants, and it's a good move. Basically forced me to make a mistake there, did Seastone, so it's good driving. He's taking a bad line through there though, but manages to hold the place as he pulls in front of me into 4th place. So Seastone's doing a good job this race, and keeps getting back ahead of me. Watching me now chasing him down. I like the fact that we can go on board with everyone, it's good. Oh, I forgot about this. Yeah, I picked up a penalty right at the beginning of this race, and I've only lost 0.2 of a second of it, and I didn't pick up another one. It was incredibly hard to lose your penalties on this track without actually braking down the straight, or, well, I'm not sure because I never actually lost it. And I even forgot about it, and I still finished the bloody race with a 1 second penalty. I never actually fully got rid of it by the end. So I picked it up in like the first 15 minutes, I think. And I raced 45 minutes without managing to lose like a 1 second penalty. So it goes to show how on it I was on this track, really. There was no rolling into the corners for me. So we see Steve Stone's pitting now as he needs to refuel. It's a bit of a shame for Steve, bit of a mistake if you don't mind me saying so strategy wise, because his tyres weren't that bad really, so bit of a shame he didn't fuel first time round on the first stop. Or maybe he hasn't stopped whatsoever actually, saying that, seeing as though he was out of fuel. Anyway, we see him come out in 7th place behind Basinger in 6th. So Basinger doing a good job of keeping it consistent since his bit of an error early on. And he's making his way back into the race and finding himself climbing up the order slowly. So we see Steve Stones and Basinger side by side. Steve Stones getting the run through the corner. Oh, I thought it was going to be left to hang out to dry then by Basinger, but it wasn't. And Steve Stones managed to get it done through those quite tricky corners to overtake. Basinger maybe just a little bit wary and drops back into 7th place. Steve Stones up into 6th. So I feel like we've been watching Steve Stones for about 10 laps now. So we'll skip through and watch someone else as we join Cooney maybe, and me chasing him down. 4th place up for grabs here from me. If I can just get Cooney reeled in and get past him. We'll look at the tyre wear again though. We're looking towards the pit stop window soon. Fuel as well is not looking too healthy. Cooney doing a nice job, keeping it nice and clean, pulling away from me if anything. So he finds himself going a little bit deep there, but I almost follow his line and do the same thing. I didn't go quite as deep as Cooney did, so I've managed to catch up a little bit. Try and hit that apex nice and clean to get the line through the rest of these. As you can see, Cooney's just pulled away through there. So me and Cooney had quite a good race in this one. Pretty close between us the whole race. Look at the understeer, ridiculous. Get so much understeer now, I'm surprised if I don't dive into the pits. No. Cooney has that, wisely probably. So Cooney in the pits from 4th place. Comes out in 6th place with 25 minutes to go or thereabouts. Finds Steve Stones in front of him in 5th with a 1 second penalty or thereabouts, 0.8 seconds I think. I'm a bit lost at this point. Quite a few of us, by the look of it, pit on this next lap. So Mulson in the pits now. Comes out in 8th place. Specky Jock just sat in the pits, retired from the race more or less. Bit annoying that view because it takes a while for it to load to the in-car view. Skip to this for a sec. Phoenix now pitting on the end of lap 18 or 19, sorry. I'm in the pits as well. Basinger also in the pits. So I come out in 6th, Basinger in 7th, and Phoenix comes back out into 3rd place. So really good racing here this time round for Phoenix on the last round of the championship. So we'll stick with Cooney now. I'll be honest, it wasn't the most exciting race. I'm trying to make the most of it, but it's a bit of a struggle to keep the commentary exciting and the action exciting because quite frankly there wasn't that much close running after the first like 10 laps or so. It gets better towards the end though, saying that. Equal Pants in 1st place, having a really strong season towards the end of the season and doing a really good job. Diablo doing the same this season, really consistent from Diablo, and Basinger's had a good season as well. And I think the rest of us have probably had a bit of a mixed season in a way. We've had some good results between us and we've had some bad ones. So Steve Stones, we're watching as he rams it into the wall and picks up some front aero damage and front suspension damage. Not very wise of him there, but there you go, that's racing. Obviously he didn't mean to do that. So Steve Stones will have to pit a bit earlier than he wanted to get rid of that damage. So we'll go from the top. Equal Pants in 1st place. Again, doing a really good job. And he's put the fastest lap in now of a 1:54.141. Diablo in 2nd. Really good championship between Equal Pants and Diablo. Been close between them all season. Phoenix in 3rd. Again, good race this for Phoenix. He likes this track and he made the most of it. Beat Cooney in 4th. Steve Stones in 5th, with me not far behind him. In 6th place, ADG 123. Basinger in 7th. Ginger Tim in 8th now. Mulson, I think, is just sat in the pits. I think he got a phone call from Paris and he had to take it. So just sat there talking French to his colleagues. And Specky Jock in 10th place just sat in the pits as well. So a bit unfortunate that 2 people felt that they had to sit in the pits towards the end of the race, but that's the way it goes sometimes. I felt like that myself plenty of times, so I can't really say anything. Anyway, right, lap 22, I've put myself down, so I must be chasing Steve Stearns down quite nicely now. I've got fresh soft tyres on, so I've got some decent grip now. Still get ridiculous understeer with the setup that I had, but I managed to drive it that way, not too badly. Just trying to keep it nice and smooth, getting as much as possible on Steve Stearns, getting in his slipstream now. Flash of the lights to try and distract him into the braking zone, and then through there, try and carry the speed as much as possible. Another flash of the lights, try and distract him. I use every technique going if it's not frowned upon in certain leagues. That's why I'm flashing the lights and stuff like that. No one said that I can't do it, so if it's a time of day where it might actually distract you a little bit, a flash of the lights from behind, then I'm going to bloody be doing it if I'm right behind you, especially when it's in the braking zones and just before the braking zone. Get your attention just before the braking zone basically, make you look away from the braking marker that you're looking for. And here, presto, boom, late braking, I've got the position. So down the inside on Steve Stearns there. Get hit there from Steve Stearns, but nothing major. Don't pick any damage up from that, so I can't complain too much, but one of those things. I know Steve Stearns didn't mean that. Not a dirty racer. So we're on lap 23 now, and we're 45 minutes into the race. We're not far off finishing up. 15 minutes to go, we're 3/4 of the way through. Ickle Pants pitting now from first place. Ginger Tim in the pits as well. So Ickle Pants down into second place as Diablo. Oh no, sorry. Ickle Pants comes out of the pits in first place, still ahead of Diablo. So skip up. I don't know why we're still watching me and Steve. So not that much of a gap still. Very, very consistent laps between these two. All race long to be a very similar gap the whole way through the race. This gap seemed to open up over about 4 laps at the beginning of the race, and then it's been very similar since. I bet Diablo's kicking himself a little bit for dropping back at the beginning, really, because he could have maybe fought for the win a little bit harder. At this point, that is. Who knows what's going to happen by the end? I actually genuinely can't remember either, so it's quite good. So I wrote down for this lap a thank you for Tim, but I've already done it. So I'll just say it again. Cheers again, Tim, for the effort that you put in with everything on the website and everything. I know it can't be easy spending that time, and I know you've got a wife and kids and everything, so it's good of you to do so. And the rest of the admin and the hosts and everything else, for that matter, who make all this happen. So I'm looking for action at the moment, I'll be honest. There's not a lot going on. There's not a lot of close action going on, should I say. Everyone's having their own little race. No one's really slipstreaming or trying to overtake. The closest people are probably me and Steve Stearns, and we're not that close together. Diablo now in the pits on lap 24. Fueling up for the last section of the race. Comes out on fresh super softs, as you probably would do with 13 minutes to go, 12 minutes to go, and comes out into second place. So his little challenge now is, can he make up any time on Ickle Pants and try and reel him in with his brand new softs, super softs. Phoenix heading into T1. Runs a bit of a wide line through T2 and loses it at the rear a little bit. But not looking too bad, still maintaining that third place nicely. Cooney running a little bit wider through the exit, but carries the speed a bit more, I think. Trying to do the same thing. A bit more similar to Cooney. Steve Stone's in the pits now. Comes out in 6th place after a last minute stop. They're looking to set a fast lap time with that combination of half a tank of fuel and brand new super soft tyres. So he's got a chance of getting the fastest lap. I feel like this has been Steve Stone's race for watching him, quite frankly, because we're going to end up watching him again a little bit more. Sometimes we end up watching Mulsanne. There seems to be certain people, other people they'll get a look in, but I guess you've got to have one of them races where you're really on it and you're coming through the field. Feel free to skip through this section. I know it's not the most entertaining. Pete Cooney in the pits now on the end of lap 25. Comes back out into 5th place, so decent job done from Cooney. Steve Stone's in far behind him though, and Cooney looks to struggle through the first couple of corners as he comes out of the pit, so Steve Stones gets a chance to get right up behind him straight away. Running it pretty close, Steve Stones to beat Cooney's rear bumper then heading into there. But good driving, it didn't look like they were in contact. Looking for the chance, but no. Cooney brakes late enough to put him off going down the inside. Steve taking a good line through there, hugging the apex, gets a good run on Cooney now. Cooney looking to the middle of the track, not really going too defensive, but looking to defend a little bit. Steve Stone's trying to go around the outside, looking for the inside line, but he's too far back. Cooney now running it wide into here, which is confident of him, seeing as though Steve Stones is so close. Steve again just thinking better of it, trying to avoid any contact or anything like that, so if he's not going to get the job done, he's dropping in behind and making sure he's not doing anything silly. Goes for an odd line through there, but gets a good exit. Good run again on Cooney. Again, he's got the run on Cooney a little bit. Slipstream, and then dive to the inside. Cooney's not going defensive. And Cooney's broke later than him, but around the outside and then cutting in front to take the apex. So it's brave driving again from Cooney, but it's paying off. It looks like something's about to happen here though, in my opinion. I honestly can't remember if it did or not. I like Cooney's defensive style though. Doesn't go for the defensive line, just defends at the apex. Oh, bit of a moment from both of them there. We're a bit of understeer by the look of it. On to lap 28 now. Tim's on the back of Phoenix now, and gets really quite close to the back of Phoenix there on the brakes. Doing a good job of not going into the back of him though. That was really close. And then comes out of there really slowly, and probably has a moment of panic after that. That was really close to going into the back of Phoenix there. Phoenix being in 3rd place and Ginger Tim being lapped now in 8th place. It wouldn't have been a good one that for Phoenix, so good job good job Tim managed to get that extra little bit of braking done on the pedals and managed to stop. I don't think I saw that first time round, that was close. Still got Phoenix being chased by Tim. I'll stick with this really, it's quite good action, pretty close. Although it's not for position, it's nice to give Tim a bit of coverage as well. He's been towards the back most of the race, so we're not seeing much of him. But he seems to be doing a good job now. He's actually chasing Phoenix in 3rd place. He's keeping up with him, so he's actually gone for the dive for the overtake, which is pretty crazy really. To say he's a lapped car, but he's unlapped himself there from Phoenix. So good job I guess there from Tim. Bit of an odd one, but yeah, good move. Steve Stone's still chasing Cooney. Cooney's actually slowly catching up to me, as you can see me in the distance a little bit. Not long left now, less than 5 minutes, coming towards the end. Just like to say before the end, really good championship. I've said it before in numerous replay videos, but I'd just like to say it again, really good driving from everyone as a whole. I know we have our little issues every now and again and moments of contact, but at the end of the day we're quite a close group pace wise, so these things are going to happen, especially on the trickier tracks where the overtakes are a lot harder to execute. These things end up happening, but other than that, don't want to dwell on the mistakes or anything. But yeah, we have a really good group going on here, I think. So season 3 should be an absolute belter, and if you're interested in joining as well, have a look. Season 3 will be starting soon. I can't remember the date that was mentioned. Today it was mentioned actually, but the settings are just being agreed slowly but surely for how we're going to pick teammates and all that kind of stuff. So it's not all finalised yet, so I'm not going to say anything about all the settings and that, because it might end up changing. So, but yep, season 3 is looking like it's going to be a good one, and hopefully it'll please everyone, because we've learned from the first 2 seasons what works and what doesn't work, and what we need to do to improve. So hopefully it'll be the best season yet. And if that's the case, then it's going to be an absolute belter. So yeah, thank you very much to everyone for racing. Basically, Mulson coming out of the pits now. We see Steve Stones diving down the inside of Bowie Cooney, gets it all shapes of wrong, and if that's such a thing, and ends up hitting Cooney. By the look of it, Cooney ends up losing it on the exit, all on his own. After that, bit of a moment. Steve Stones ends up in 5th place. Cooney drops into 6th. Really unfortunate for Cooney. He's got engine damage right before the end of the race. There's only like a lap left, pretty much. So really unfortunate. And as you can hear from Cooney's engine, it's really struggling to get any pace built up. Mulson, we see him on the grass getting out of the way for Basinger coming through. Mulson just coming out to have a bit of a test after sitting in the pits for a while. Oh, it's all going on all of a sudden. So yeah, a bit unfortunate for Cooney there. Really unfortunate, should I say. And I don't know if it gives Basinger the chance to catch him up, but we'll keep an eye on that. Cooney currently in 6th position. Steve Stones not picked up any damage there, so I don't think he actually hit Cooney, but I think it was just a surprise, and it put Cooney off, and then he ended up losing it on his own on the next corner. So really unfortunate for Cooney there after a really good race, but at the end of the day, again, that's racing. These little mistakes that end up making a huge difference. So Steve Stone's doing a good job and in 5th place now. As we see Phoenix actually coming over the line in 3rd place. He's finished now. We'll watch everyone in as we watch everyone finish. ADG 1, 2, 3, which is me in 4th. I was happy with that. 5th is Steve Stones. Basinger being chased by Cooney now as he's managed to get past him. So Basinger taking 6th place off Cooney. So really unfortunate that for Cooney getting that damage and losing 2 positions. Cooney coming home in 7th though after that. Oh, in fact, Basinger stopped to get rid of his penalty, so Cooney still picks up 6th. Basinger in 7th. Ginger Tim brings it home in 8th. 9th is going to be Mulson, and Specky Jock is still sat in the pits in 10th. Ickelpants bringing it home in 1st, and the Diablo is the final person to watch over the line. I know that's a bit of an odd order to do it in 2nd place. Nearly out of fuel is Diablo. I think he was worrying, if I remember rightly. And without much hesitation, I'll quickly go through the championship results and where everyone came. So at the end of the day, after 10 rounds of 1 hour endurance championship, so 10 hours of racing in total, Diablo managed to finish 1st. So well done, Diablo, congratulations. Really good racing throughout the season to do that with 201 points. Ickelpants was in 2nd place with 179 points. ADG and Basinger were joint 3rd place with 133 points. Specky Jock was in 4th with 118. Skid Guru 5th with 113. Mulson in 6th with 105. 7th was Phoenix with 77. Drawing in 7th with Phoenix was Tim with 77 points too. Steve Stones in 8th with 75. Steve Orb in 9th with 71. 10th was B. Cooney with 60. Broad, which dropped out, was in 11th with 26, and 12th was KZ2 with 24. So without much further ado, I'll say thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon, hopefully in season 3. That's about it from me. Thank you if you've watched the whole season. I really appreciate it, and yeah, gonna leave it at that. So cheers again, see you again soon.